Hello, Trainer Sans. If you're unaware, there are missions that everyone gets in your main tab that you can get by winning a certain number of wins in a single career run. It starts at 20 and goes to 30, and they give 50 carats each. You can get these all in the same run, so I recommend doing a single run with 30 wins so you can grab all of them in one go for 500 carats. I will note that there's no time limit on this mission, and it will only get easier with time, so there's no real rush to do it now, unless you really want the carats for some reason, or you're bored and want to just try it as a challenge. However, I will say this is actually not as easy as it seems. I actually failed this the first time I tried. I only got 28 wins, but I learned a couple of lessons, and in this run I got 32 wins. I decided to run with Sakura Bakshin O using the meme support deck, which I think is actually really strong for this challenge. I'm running 5 speed cards and a scenario card. So what makes Sakura Bakshin so good for this challenge? Well, first of all, her URA career is pretty easy to win. Because her longest race is a mile, you don't really need stamina or guts. And you don't really need power or wit either. The only stat you need to win the URA finals as Sakura Bakshin is speed. If you have over 1100 speed during the URA gauntlet, then you're pretty likely to win, all things considered. That means for the purposes of our challenge, we can only focus on getting rainbow speed trainings and spend the rest of our times doing races. For your legacy parents, I highly recommend bumping her mile aptitude to an A, since she'll be running a lot of mile races throughout this run, and her stats will be a little lower than normal. The tough part about this challenge is that non-G1 races are not as good as typical training days, which means our stats will be lower than normal. That means for every training we do, we really have to make it count. For first year, we're doing the same old, just trying to raise all of our support card bonds to rainbow as fast as we can. And for the junior make debut, we put her as a front runner and leave her there for the rest of the career. So the goal of this run in particular is to win at least 30 races. I would recommend keeping a count for every race you win, since you don't want to do too many races if you've already hit 30. But personally, I was lazy, so I just ran races whenever I felt like it, and hoped that by the end I would be at 30 or higher. Not really a great strategy to just rely on guessing because you're too lazy, but hey, I never claimed to be a perfect trainer. In addition to this 30 win challenge, I guess you could sort of consider this a Sakura Bakshin guide, since I'll be talking about her stats and stuff throughout this run, along with a couple of other game mechanics that you might not know about. But after our make debut, we start unlocking the OP races, which are the ungraded races, and they should be free wins. And as long as they are sprint or mile on turf, then they should be free wins for Sakura Bakshin. You can go up to G3s or G2s or even G1s if you're feeling confident, but the odds are your stats will be a little too low to reliably handle G1 races. If your trainings have been good, G2s and G3s should be fine though, and this is a good opportunity to pick up a couple of extra trophies to fill out your trophy collection that you typically wouldn't go out of your way to get. So knocking out 2 birds with 1 stone. But if we want reliable wins, then of course we just do the ungraded OP races, which is pretty much a guaranteed first. For our entire career run, we're basically just smurfing the entire time, racing against bots and newbies, and farming first places. It's pretty much like loading up a League of Legends custom game and just farming creeps for 20 minutes. It's not particularly fun, just spamming these ungraded races over and over, but if that's what the challenge requires, then you might as well just suck it up and get it done in one shot. So yeah, the idea of the run is just do speed trainings whenever you have really good speed options, and if you don't have any good options, then just do a random race that you can win. You can greed for new trophies to add to your collection if you want, but that's up to you. It increases the risk that you'll lose the race, and if you lose too many runs, then you might not be able to hit 30 by the end. In my first attempt, where I only got 28 wins, I lost a couple of G1 races because I was being greedy, and my stats weren't high enough for the G1s because I was doing so many low value races. But I learned my lesson, so this time around I pretty much just did the easy freebie races. So on to Sakura Bakshin herself. For normal runs, I definitely do not recommend running 5 speed cards. This is because with a normal training plan, you'll do a lot more trainings and you'll be able to cap your speed pretty easily with just 4 cards, even 3 cards. With like half of my days just being races, I was still able to cap my speed pretty easily in this particular run. So definitely do not run 5 speed cards if you're just doing a normal Sakura Bakshin run. A common belief is that after you cap speed, the next stat you should focus on is wit, but I think power is actually a little more beneficial to Sakura Bakshin's strength as a PvP Uma. Power isn't just for passing people when you're a late surger or pace chaser, it's just your general acceleration. So even frontrunners do want power so they can accelerate on the final spurt. It's not as important for them as the late surgers, but it's still good to have power, and it's a net speed gain in the long run. And power training also helps with stamina, which is pretty good to have for PvP. So right here, I've been on a really hot first streak, so I'm overestimating Sakura Bakshin's stats. So I enter her into this G1 mile race, and I get a 12th. So that's what I get for greeting higher graded races. That's basically the last optional G1 I do for the rest of this run, because now I'm just focusing on getting those 30 wins in reliably and consistently. I forgot to mention this from earlier, but another reason that Sakura Bakshin is so good for this 30 win challenge is because her career route has a lot of races. Free, no-cost races that we can pick up because we are planning to do a lot of races anyways. In her third year of the career, she does have a lot of career G1 races, so you will have to partake in some of those G1 races, but hopefully by then you have done enough speed trainings to the point where your speed is at a pretty decent level. And like I said, while power and a little bit of stamina is good for PvP, you don't really need it for your URA victory. And for this run in particular, we're not building a good PvP Uma, we're just doing this 30 win challenge for our carrots. So pretty simple plan, yeah, just farming bots over and over whenever we don't have any good trainings, and then either pumping speed or resting for other days. Now a couple of game mechanics. You may have seen that when you try to do 3 races in a row, Tazuna tells you that your horse may get a mood penalty, which is true. If your 3rd consecutive race is an optional race, you have a chance of getting a mood down after the race. On top of the motivation down, they also have a chance of getting the dry skin condition, which is not great. However, I believe you can't get the mood punishment if your 3rd race is a mandatory career race. I'm not 100% sure on this, but please correct me if I'm wrong. So even though the pop-up does show up when your 3rd race is a career race, you don't actually get the mood debuff at the end. There's also another penalty that you can get for doing optional races, and that is running a race on 0 energy. Whenever you run a race on 0 energy, you have a chance of getting a motivation down and the dry skin condition as well. And the more times in a row that you run races with 0 energy, the higher chance you get for getting these debuffs. Up to a 95% motivation down whenever you run 3 races in a row at 0 energy. This only happens when you're at true 0 energy though. So even if you're at 1 energy and your race cost takes you from 1 to 0, that doesn't count as 0 energy and you won't get punished. Just something to keep in mind when you're doing these optional heavy runs where you're racing a lot. Funnily enough, on stream the other day, I got a 26 win Oguri cap run, and it wasn't farming noobs. It was 100% win rate, 26 wins off of mostly G1 races, as part of a Sparks farming run. But a lot of that is just because Oguri cap is really strong, but a little more difficult to train for race spam because you do need a bit of stamina and power for Oguri cap, as compared to Bakshin where you just only hit the speed button and win. The decisions for this challenge isn't actually that hard, it's just hit speed trainings when there are a lot of rainbows, and then do optional races when there aren't, and then do rests whenever your energy is too low to do anything else. With all these races, you end up with a ton of skill points, and typically by the end, you don't have enough skills to spend them on, since doing more races means you get less support card events, which means you get less skill hints. So by the end, you're basically just wasting your skill points over nothing, because there's no real good options to take. But yeah, if there's anything I want you to take away from this challenge, it's that if you're going to aim for 30 wins off of easy races, then just commit to the easy races. Don't try to greed for G1s, because there's not really a good reason to. G1s are good if you're trying to build Sparks or a PvP Uma, but this is just a throwaway run for this one challenge. You don't need to go out of your way to do anything special. Just keep spamming the OP races, hit some G3s or G2s for extra trophies if you want, Yeah, by the end of year 3, our speed stat is pretty high, up to 1100. Our speed is actually pretty close to being capped out here. Don't forget that winning each URA race gives you about 12 all stat points. So factor those into your calculation to figure out if you're going to be capped on speed by the end or not. And if you are going to be capped on speed, then you can instead do trainings on stamina or power or even wit. We get a Night Owl right before the URA gauntlet, but it's whatever, we'll just tank it. Yeah, not really an exciting run. You basically only click the sprint, rest, and race button from year 2 and onwards. And we are beating every URA race. Since our speed is about to be capped, I instead just do my final training in power. And the URA finale finals. I don't know, I'm not sure why you watched this whole video. Sorry, it's a little less informational than my normal videos, but at least I can check off Sakura Bakshin O as a full career victory to have on my channel, right? If I'm going to have one victory for each horse, then I guess I would have to have done Sakura Bakshin O eventually. So getting this additional bonus challenge out of the way kind of makes sense because I did get asked a couple of times over how to do race spam for these missions. So wherever you are, this video's for you. So yeah, go ahead, do your Sakura Bakshin O 30 win mission if you want. If not, that's okay, there's no time limit on it, just do it whenever you feel like it. If you don't have a Tasna support card, then the Kuryuin Scenario Trainer card is just as fine, which is the one you get from starting the game. Their main gimmick is they just help you with mood ups and add consistency to your run. We end up with a B+, surprisingly close to an A honestly, which is mainly because of all the skills we bought, which half of them are just junk skills. Looking through our career history, yeah, we won a lot of ungraded OP races, and we did pick up a couple of G3s and G2s by the end, and got a couple of trophies added to our collection as well. So not all bad. The one race we lost was that optional G1 race that I got too overconfident for, but luckily it didn't cost us in the end because we still got 32 wins. Yeah, if there's any other weird gimmick runs that you'd like to see, let me know. I know a couple of people have asked for spark farming runs, so I might go ahead and do that on a Uma that I haven't done a career clear for yet. Yeah, thanks for watching. I appreciate your support as always, and I'm wishing you the best. Hope to see you around, and make sure to take care of yourself.